heads the National Unity Party in Israel. Most recent polls show that if Israel were to go to elections again today, for what would become the 6th time in the past 3 years, the National Unity Party would be the Knesset's largest party, trumping even the Likud. I'd like to welcome former Defense Minister and former IDF Chief of Staff, Benny Gantz.
Esteemed guests, good morning to you all. I am very proud to be with you this morning. On an eventful day in Zion of May 15, 1948, a bold headline of Jerusalem Post exclaimed, "The State of Israel is born." That same day, another headline printed in this very city on the pages of the New York Times read, "Zionists proclaimed were not only different, they represented two different perspectives from two different sides of earth. These two different realities have existed ever since." In Israel, the state transformed from a young national movement to established regional superpower. During these 75 years, the country has grown continuously, bringing together people from across the earth to build one single nation, restoring a shared language, creating dynamic society with resilient economy and military force like no other, a state that is truly a unicorn. Every single day, Israel and Israelis delivered on the promise to ensure that never again we will be dependent on graces of others. After 2,000 years of exile, we are not simply free, we are striving. And while we look back with pride on all that we have accomplished, we must also look ahead. Today, June 5th, we mark 56 years since the Six-Day War, one of the most impressive military achievements as well as one of the most meaningful events in Israel's short history. There are two main lessons of that war we must always remember, along with the brave men and women whose sacrifice made this incredible feat possible. First, that we should always show greatest strength, initiative, and courage possible. And second, that we should always lead with wisdom, sensibility when facing threats to our national security. Today, in an ever-shifting global and Middle Eastern reality, our nation is threatened by the emergence of a nuclear-armed Iran. We must stress that nuclear Iran is first and foremost a global challenge that is endangering both global and regional stability. We have reached the 11th hour, and we cannot allow Iran to obtain nuclear weapons. And as an opposition leader, I want to emphasize this message. We will do whatever it takes to prevent an existential threat to the State of Israel. Despite our differences, should a time come when action is needed, this government will receive full support from the opposition in any determined, appropriate, and responsible action. We know such action might come at a great cost. But as always, in these matters, all of Israel's leadership and people will unite. Our coordination with the international community, which will face the consequences of Iran's armament, is imperative. Now is the time to do everything possible to reinforce our security cooperation with our most important ally, the United States of America. We cannot allow tactical actions or internal politics to hinder our security. My friends, while facing this external threat, we have an equally pressing to a nation of tribes. And this is not necessarily a bad thing. Our mission, however, is to ensure that our tribes live side by side, serve the needs of the country, and continue building Israel together. We will be able to celebrate 75 more years so long as Israel remains as it was designed 75 years ago, Jewish and democratic, safe and just, and liberal, in line with tradition, but also on par with progress. A nation state of all kinds of Jews, but also an embracing oasis for all mankind. Not uniform in our thoughts, but united in our hearts. Getting there will take an effort. We must codify new norms that allow for all Israel's communities to respectfully live together. If you wish, we need a new Zionist alliance expressing our shared commitment to make Israel a better home for all its citizens. We need to create a sense of what I call national decency, a civil agreement to fairly distribute resources according to the needs of different individual sectors, in addition to national needs, and not only according to spare political power. It is important to emphasize that we need all parts of society to contribute to our economy and support its development. We need to shift power from the extreme to the center and treat minorities decently. If we do so, our prosperity is not a question of if, it is a question of when and how, and the only answer is together. Esteemed guests, the same 75 years have passed on this side of the Atlantic too. American Jewry, which played an invaluable role in the country's establishment, has remained an inseparable part of Israel's story. Now, in 2023, we must fortify all bridges and connect the tribes of the diaspora to those who are living in Israel. While many in the older Jewish American generation may feel that Israel could have done more to better reflect them, the younger generation grows increasingly disconnected from Israel. Perhaps it's because some student activists in the United States falsely claim that Zionism is racism. Maybe it is because our nation is so often portrayed negatively, or because they themselves believe that Israel's values greatly differ from their own. Maybe it is because it is not always easy to understand that our military strength doesn't make us any less morally correct. For whatever reason may young Jews today are afraid or uninterested to explore connection with the State of Israel and Israelis. This is a challenge we must face together. As we work towards unity, let us never forget to reach out to every Jew here and everywhere. Let us accommodate them by the Western Wall and in the streets of Tel Aviv. Let us commit to helping them in their battles against anti-Semitism, against those who try shaming them for their race, faith, and firm belief of the Jewish right to self-determination, in the only build an Israel to be proud of, but Israel proud of the people it built. Thank you very much.